J-Roll Electronic Productions, baby.
Welcome to DEMOCREPUBLIX, where we cover the real news that matter to we the people. 1619 Project's Nikole Hannah-Jones calls Cuba, quote, the most equal multiracial country in our hemisphere. See, this is what happens when people don't know history. How does she teach history? Will win Pulitzer Prizes and don't know anything about history, claiming that it's the most equal multiracial country in our hemisphere. She's obviously crazy. She's the one behind all this critical race theory stuff that's being taught in schools, and she was trying to get tenure at Harvard, I believe. This is one of the reasons why she's not getting it, because her 1619 project was highly criticized by real historians. They said most of the stuff in there is false. Her whole premise on slavery is false. But the article says the New York Times journalist and 1619 Project created Nikole Hannah-Jones called Cuba the most equal multiracial country in our hemisphere. In a 2019 interview with Vox co-founder Ezra Klein, unearthed by the National Pulse, Hannah-Jones lauded socialism as a factor behind Cuba's purported equality. I mean, how ignorant is she? She says, are these candidates right now, or even just places that you think have a viable and sufficiently ambitious integration agenda? And if so, what is it? Klein asked Hannah-Jones, after noting that she is definitely not an expert on race relations internationally. She alleged that, quote, if you want to see the most equal multiracial it's not a democracy. The most equal multiracial country in our hemisphere, it would be Cuba. See, she was about to call Cuba a democracy. See, she don't know anything. But she goes on to say that Cuba has the least inequality between black and white people of any place, really, in the hemisphere, she added. She don't know anything. All you have to do is read and know that that's not true. But she goes on to say that, the Caribbean, most of the Caribbean, it's hard to count because the white population in a lot of those countries are very, very small. They're countries run by black folks. But in places that are truly at least biracial countries, Cuba actually has the least inequality. And that's largely due to socialism, which I'm sure no one wants to hear. Just ignorance. Total ignorance. The Cuban regime, however, has long been recognized as one that favors white Cubans. I mean, it's so true. As the New York Times reported 3 years ago, the Cuban government under Castro has historically been viewed as one made up mainly of white men, especially those of advanced age, although it has generally had at least one Afro-Cuban in a high-ranking position. Cynics dismiss them as symbolic figures. See, it's the exact opposite of what she's saying. And these are the people that come up with our school curriculums and win all these fancy awards and stuff and get tenure normally. People that don't really know anything about history and call themselves historians. The minority right group International confirms, yet, however, radical the assault on institutional racism, little was achieved in eliminating racial discrimination. Attempts by intellectuals to raise the issue of racism in revolutionary Cuba were harshly dealt with in the 1960s, and the government insisted that it had eliminated racial discrimination. On various occasions, Castro explicitly condemned racism and affirmed his government commitment to equality. However, critics allege that educational policy and official culture remained strongly Eurocentric. Afro-Cubans were not, for example, widely represented in higher echelons of the ruling Communist Party or in the upper levels of civil service or state industries. And with a few exceptions, Afro-Cuban women have not yet reached the highest professional strata. And that's the truth. Hannah-Jones, who won a Pulitzer Prize for the introductory essay of the 1619 Project was recently the subject of controversy as trustees at the University of North Carolina um, weighed the possibility of hiring her as a tenured journalism professor. After much deliberation, the university offered Hannah-Jones tenure. Nevertheless, she rejected the offer in favor of a position at Howard University. So it was North Carolina. I don't know why I thought it was like Harvard or somewhere. Um, in the introductory essay, Hannah-Jones expressed ire towards her father for flying an American flag at their childhood home. See, they demonize the flag now. The people on the left demonize the flag. It's crazy. Quote, I was deeply embarrassed by the outward show of patriotism from my father, Hannah-Jones said. I understand that black Americans were still second class. She said, on my fault. I understood that black Americans were still second class citizens. This was a man who was born on a cotton plantation in apartheid Mississippi. One of the smartest men that I knew, but who had never had any real opportunities in this country. And yet, here he was exhibiting patriotism. He was a veteran. So being a patriot is wrong. Let me see if I can find this video of slaves flying the flag. I mean, we have always flied the flag, and they making it a bad thing. Let me see if I can find that. Let me see. Slaves fly U.S. flag. It was a great photo I saw going around online. I can't find it. If I find it, maybe I could put it in the I'll put it in the description or something where to find it. But there's a great photo out there. But the whole thing is this whole thing of the 1619 Project with fake history, her winning awards and stuff and getting tenures off of her fake history and her saying why slavery ended and why we fought the Civil War and all this other stuff. Like, it's made up history. It's all made up history. Let me know what you think. Leave your comments down below and sign up for Patreon for the exclusives that I got going on. I do a lot of exclusive videos, videos that I don't put on YouTube. So if y'all want to check that stuff out and find out news before it becomes news, sign up to Patreon. The link is in the description. And like, share, and subscribe, and check out DEMOCREPUBLIX.com for the latest in news. Till next time.